Hi, I'm Philip Hundl. I'm an attorney with our principal office in Wharton County. My practice primarily focuses on representing landowners facing condemnation proceedings. And so the term eminent domain versus condemnation oftentimes comes up. Well, what does either one of those terms mean? How do they fit together? And so, eminent domain and condemnation obviously interrelated, but they're different and they mean different things. And so, eminent domain, I always think about eminent and domain. And so that eminent domain means the right that governments have to take private property from citizens for public use. So that could be United States government, the state government, quasi-governmental entities, but let's just call it the state or the government can take property through their inherent power of eminent domain. The power comes from the United States Constitution for the U.S. government, the Fifth Amendment, and then our Texas State Constitution, Article 1, Section 17. And it basically says, yes, the government can take private property from its citizens, but only if it gives just compensation. And yes, there's lots of interpretation of what just compensation is and valuations of land and the damage to the remainder. But for purposes of this video, it's eminent domain and condemnation and what those two terms mean. So condemnation is the exercise of the power of eminent domain, or the process that a government or the state uses when it's exercising its power of eminent domain. The process to do that, or the exercise of that power, is condemnation. Condemnation is the process or procedure, the legal procedure process. So there's and you can kind of think of eminent domain in three elements. The first is there needs to be, obviously someone seeking to take, and that's the condemner, typically the government. In many cases, now it's the private entity. So we talk about the state, public entity, and then private entity. Yes, private entities also do have the power of eminent domain because, or for the reason that their projects are for the public use, public good, and so therefore exactly the same rationale that the government has this inherent powers because it's for the public good or public use. The other element, we talked about three elements. Property must be taken for public use. We just talked about that. It can't be taken for non-public use. Well, the term public use has been stretched throughout the years, and different cases will try to limit that. In other cases, will try to expand it. And then the landowner must be adequately compensated, the just compensation, many cases interpreting that. So those are the components of, eminent domain. Now, the components of condemnation, or the process of condemnation, we'll go into in more detail in another video. But I'm going to say the formal and informal steps are initial offer to the landowner. In this case, let's just use a pipeline company. Pipeline company's representative, contacts a landowner initially and makes an initial offer. Then there's a follow-up, and there could be many discussions back and forth between right-of-way agent, representative of the pipeline company, with the landowner, many conversations, but then there'll be a final offer, and that final offer will also be accompanied with an appraisal of the property that's going to be taken. That's provided to a landowner pursuant to statute, pursuant to Texas law. Then there's a certain waiting period after the final offer, and then the pipeline company can file a condemnation suit. A legal proceeding, lawsuit is filed in state court. The initial part of a condemnation suit is a special proceedings, what I call it. It involves special commissioners hearing, special commissioners, special commissioners, not county commissioners, but special commissioners are appointed by the court. And then a hearing is conducted where the landowner and the pipeline company are able to put on evidence of valuation. After the hearing is complete, the special commissioners will issue an award. Either side, the pipeline company or landowner, can object to the award, and then the condemnation case takes on the same characteristics of a normal civil litigation in state court, which would include discovery and potentially depositions and pretrial motions and dispositive motions. And then with a trial, unless the case is settled beforehand, most courts will order the parties to mediation and attempt to resolve the case. After a trial, if either side wishes to appeal, there's an appellate process involved that either side could use. So with that, hopefully that's a helpful discussion on eminent domain and condemnation. As I recommend to all landowners, if you're facing condemnation, please seek legal counsel, visit with a landowner condemnation lawyer to understand your rights, the procedures going forward. And above all, please do not sign documents without consulting an attorney.